Hi everyone, my name is Iben and Frontier gave us some brand new footage regarding the aquariums in this game, and there's so much to see in this trailer. And we're going to start off with the aquarium that they've built right here. There is so much that I want to point out in this single frame. There are so many cool pieces that I think are worth mentioning, and we're gonna start off with all the shapes that you can see here. We have these wavy patterns. Some of them have a texture, some of them don't, some of them are flat. They seem to be quite flat as well in terms of dimensions. They don't seem to be super thick, so I hope we can scale these down and do all kinds of really cool stuff with it. But I'm genuinely just really happy that we have them, because these are the kinds of shapes that I expect to see in an aquarium setup. We can also see them on the floor, and we can basically spot two different animal shapes, and that's the sea star over here and some kind of ray shape over here. Now, I don't really think that this looks like the spotted eagle ray. The back fins don't really match with how they are on a spotted eagle ray. The head is different. The tail of a spotted eagle ray also looks really stiff to me, and this one is flowing. Whether this means that we're going to get another ray species, or if this is just a, I don't know, generic made sign so that you can use it for a whole bunch of different things, I don't know, but that doesn't look like a spotted eagle ray silhouette to me. What I do think is absolutely fantastic are these bubble tubes. I've seen those in several aquariums, but they were all kind of the same type of aquarium. All had a, very sea life center vibe, and I kind of assumed that Frontier wasn't going to include something like that, and I'm over the moon that they did. I'm so looking forward to using these in my Sea Life Ghent project. I can't wait. I'm so excited for these. In the back we also see these round windows, and we'll take a look at that in another frame in this video where we can see them even better than we can see them right here. I do really like this big aquarium setup. I know that there's a whole bunch of people who are really want to see if you can make these smaller sized aquariums, and I'm there with you. I also want to know if you can do that, but I do like the vibe of these big aquariums. They are so cool. I recently went to Nausicaa again, and it was really cool, and this really gave me Nausicaa vibes, and that's a good thing for me. We then get to see the black-tipped reef shark a little bit better than we did last time, and I think it looks really cool. What I want to point out right here is that you can see a blue tang swimming all alone here, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that later in this video when we get a better view of how shoals work. Now we get to see how you make an aquarium, and as I say in the footage, it is very much like how you would make a regular habitat, and in my opinion that's one of the best things that they've done in this game. And now we see the blueprint tab, and you can already see some cool blueprints from the other themes, so that's something that I am excited about, but I couldn't really spot anything that is hinting at something that we haven't seen so far, with maybe the exception of this aquarium that seemingly has a piece of land in it, but that could also just be a rock, so I don't know how much can be done with these aquariums. Can you actually have a piece of terrain that sticks out on top of it, or if this is just something that's been built using a rock piece. One thing that I do think is interesting is that we get the solar panel and the windmill piece again as well, as you can see here at the bottom. We already knew about the solar panel piece from one of the other trailers, but this time around we can also see that windmill tower thing that the first game had. And then they built one of the things that I'm so incredibly excited for, and that is the underwater tunnels. It's absolutely insane that this is something that will be in the game at launch. And there's one thing that I want to point out from the bat, and that's there is no big entrance piece. Like, there's no big piece that you have to cover and make sure that you can hide. No, this is just a hole in the wall, and then the tunnel begins. And I think that is incredible. We had those glass domes for the habitats in the past, in the first game, and that had a big entrance piece that was really clunky and you had to hide it to make it look good. But this is just a hole in the wall. You can do with it what you want, and that's absolutely insane. In this shot right here, we can see at least some kind of enrichment piece for, I assume, one of the animals in this tank, one of them being the sea turtle. I can't really see what this kind of thing is. Is this meat at the bottom? Is this... I don't know what this is. Let me know what you think, because I assume it's an enrichment or a feeder item, but I can't tell what it is. One of the coolest things that I like about this frame specifically is the fact that you can actually have slopes in your underwater tunnel. That's really cool and opens up a whole new world once again. I think that's really cool. And then we get to see the whimsical animation that Planet Zoo uses to transform the keeper from a regular version to a underwater version. But the one thing that I think is interesting is right here is the fact that this does look like a staff path, but if you pay close attention, I don't see the Planet Zoo 2 logo anywhere on this staff path. It is just a simple path. There is no Planet Zoo logo on here, and I'm really happy about that. Like, that makes it so much easier to hide the staff path away and make it seem like it's just a regular path, unlike the other paths. So yeah, I think that's really cool. And then they place down this veggie mat feeder, which looks like something that I saw in Epcot a few years ago. So that at least is a little bit realistic. I don't really know if you can attach vegetables like this, but hey, it's a game. I'm perfectly okay with it. What I really like is the fact that we can see these small turtle babies right here, and next to it a turtle sitting on the ground. And I shouldn't have worried about it. I shouldn't have thought that this wouldn't be a thing in the game, but I am super surprised to see it, and I'm super happy that the animals are able to do that. I think that's really cool, and I really hope to see them sleeping on the ocean floor. That would be really cool to have in a zoo. This enrichment piece also looks really cool. I am a sucker for these kinds of just geometric shapes as a ball piece. I think that looks really nice. Yeah, just like it. In this shot, we get to see the African tigerfish for the first time, and I think I spot an anchor piece right there. I'm not entirely sure. We get to see another shot of the black-tip reef shark, and then we get to see the round windows that we saw earlier in the trailer in a better look, and I think they look fantastic. I'm really looking forward to know how they work, how you build with that. I guess it's just a simple scenery piece, but still, I'm really happy that this is something that we can build in this game. I think that is really cool. Another thing that I want to point out is that the brown trout here is in a shoal, but the animals in the shoal are quite far from each other, and that makes me think of the blue tang that we saw earlier, so that even animals that are in a shoal can be far away from each other. Maybe they kind of just work like guests in the Planet series, where the entities of the guest group can actually disperse from each other, but they all still have the same need system, the same overall brain in them. So yeah, it's really cool to see that these shoals don't really have to stick together that much and can actually spread out a little bit. That's something that I was really happy to see. What I'm also really happy about is this new filter system, because it looks like it uses the same system that the Planet Coaster 2 and Jurassic World Evolution system uses. In Planet Zoo 1, you basically have to put in these facility systems everywhere, and then you get like a solar panel randomly if you want to use the electricity system. But in Planet Coaster 2 and in Jurassic World Evolution, you actually can create a network by connecting them, like you can see right here. You connect them with these lines, and it actually even says a network right here, which allows you to basically basically build these larger filter rooms without having to have a big bubble around them, but you can actually go from these filter rooms to other areas in your zoo. I think that's really, really cool, and I'm even going to start using them in my game. I didn't use the power mechanics and the filter mechanics in the first game because of the bubble system, and now that they have this network system, I'm so much happier about them. And now we get to see the animal that was teased last week, and that is the red lionfish. It looks really, really cool, and it turns out that it's actually a hero animal because it swims on its own. It's not a shoaling animal, which makes sense, but I think some people assumed that animals like the red lionfish would also be a shoaling animal, but with really small shoals. But apparently even animals of this size can be their own hero animals, so that's really cool to see. And in this shot they start decorating the aquarium, and what I like is that they're using different pieces than the other pieces that they've used so far. So these are pieces from the West theme. We see West Chimney Arch piece, and it's 2 meters. And it has so many flexi-color options for a stone piece, which is something that I'm really, really happy about. I like all the pieces that we can see here. The stonework looks amazing. These little hooks looks amazing. This lid right here, I can already think of really cool things we can do with that. So yeah, really happy to see more pieces from different themes. Really glad that Frontier is starting to like put them and sprinkle them in their other videos. That's really, really cool. And then they put down the lights inside the aquarium, and we get to see how you can adjust the lighting in your aquarium. And there's a whole bunch of questions that I have right here. So it says suitable for animals, which makes me wonder if there is like an aquarium type with animals in them where lights wouldn't be suitable. There is like a variant system with angle and position and a seed that you can trigger so that you get different variations. You have a slider for brightness and for spacing. I genuinely don't know what these are supposed to do. I think it's really interesting to see, but I genuinely don't know what they're trying to do with this. I'm looking forward to seeing what this actually means in the game. And then we get to see how you can actually adjust the tint of the water. This was something that we already had in Planet Zoo 1, but it looks like we are getting a whole bunch of extra sliders that we didn't have in the first game. You have a fogging slider, a dust mode slider, and a glow slider, and I think it is liquidation strength. I don't know what that means, but we are getting a whole bunch of extra sliders, so that's really cool. So we can actually adjust the water even more. That is something that I'm really happy about. In this shot we get to see the red lionfish again. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And here we can see the shark, and I love this little enrichment piece. This is such a, I don't know, this is such a whimsical piece. This isn't necessarily the most realistic piece ever, but it's so cute. I'm glad things like this are in there. It makes it so much more fun. Here we can see the shoal of the African tigerfish, and we see the number of individuals is 15, and that there's a grow rate of +5. So I assume every time this animal breeds, it will gain 5 more animals. So does this mean that shoals can grow in size? I assume that means that, so that's really interesting, and I can't wait to see what that does to your shoals, so really nice to know that. Then they show us how we can release the animals in the shoal to the wildlife reserves and the same reserves where we put our habitat animals in. So that is really, really cool. And whilst I think it's super interesting that we can have aquarium animals in natural bodies of water in the wildlife reserves, in which we have other semi-aquatic animals, what does this mean for the zoo side of things? Are we going to be able to combine the semi-aquatic animals with the aquarium animals? Is this going to be a thing or not? I was kind of hoping that this video would answer that question, given that it is such a really popular asked for feature in every part of the community. But for me, I'm still left with more questions than answers, and I hope time will tell what Frontier has in store for that. We also get to see what I think is a calf of the zebra, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. I love the animals in the back. They all look amazing. And then the trailer ends with a little sneak peek that the next feature focus will be all about aviaries, and we get a better look at the Indian hornbill, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. Can't wait to see what Frontier is going to show next. But there is more, as Frontier provided us with the screenshots of the new animals that are going to be dropped today. So let's look at them. First of all, we have the bannerfish. I think they always have looked really good, but I really like all of the texture work here, and I think they really look like the real life animal. I love all these small details over here. Yeah, big fan. There isn't much I can say about them, but I'm happy with how they look. Then we get to see the boa constrictor, and there's a whole bunch of really cool information that we can get from this. So first of all, I see a lot of the rainforest plants that we got from the tropical pack. We've got this vine here, we've got all of these these plants in the back. These were pieces from the tropical pack, so I'm really excited to see them again. But for me, this once again shows a new exhibit setup. It looks different than it looked before. This certainly is a new piece that the boa constrictor was never on in the first game, so it's really exciting to see it. There is one thing that I do feel is that I feel like the exhibit animals haven't really been updated that much, and you can kind of see it right here. The snake is a little bit blocky. Now I'm zooming in quite a lot, so we have to keep that in mind, as usually we're not going to see these animals from this up close, but still, the boa constrictor was one of those base game animals that I kind of had hoped that Frontier would have updated it. But the important thing for me is that this doesn't look like the exhibit boxes that we had before, and it will be even clearer in a future animal in this Zoopedia drop. But before we go to that, we get a picture of the new updated Gharial, and I'm honestly super excited about it. It's a gorgeous animal and it looks absolutely incredible in game. What I really love is that you can see this eyelid over here that looks absolutely gorgeous. The patterns are really good. The bulb here on the snout also looks so much better than it did in the first game. The only thing that I think is a shame is that we don't get to see it better than this. We can only see it in this screenshot where it's partly submerged and we don't get a good view of it. And here's the second exhibit animal in the drop, and there's something really interesting about it. Now the animal itself looks pretty good. I don't think there has been any major updates to it, but I think that's fine. But what is interesting is that this is a new rock from Planet Zoo 2. This is a rock that they've used in all of their aquarium pictures, and you can really see that because you've got these fossilized imprints all over the rock, and that matches up with the other pictures that we got from aquariums where we can see these rocks. So that's already super interesting. This once again points at the fact that, hey, they at least updated the setup of these exhibits, because this is a rock piece that wasn't in the first game. But what I also think is really interesting is that right here we see some kind of metal piece that I think is holding a window. So I think this is one of our first exhibit animal pictures that we have where the animal is actually inside of an exhibit. There's at least something metal over here that is sticking out, and I would assume that there is a piece of glass between this gap here, right? So really interesting. I am really looking forward to an exhibit based feature focus. I genuinely hope that is coming in the future. And what I also really hope is that we're going to see some new exhibit animals. I'm really happy that we're seemingly getting a whole bunch of the original ones returning in this game, and I'm really happy that that doesn't really just limit itself to the base game but also DLC exhibit boxes, because there were some great choices in there. But I really do want to see some new exhibit animals. A chameleon, for instance, is very high on my list, and I genuinely hope it's one of those base game animals, because that would be really cool. This screenshot gives us another look at a different variant for the red lionfish. It is a lot pinker, it's a lot redder, and I think it looks really good. Once again, I love the transparency of the fins, I love how it all fades, and I think it looks, yeah, pretty much spot on. This is what I expected from a red lionfish in Planet Zoo 2. I think they've done a wonderful job, and I'm really looking forward to more fish like this in the future. This is one of these animals that really excites me, so I'm really happy that it is included. We already had a great look at the black-tipped reef shark, and I don't think there's much more to say. I think it looks incredibly awesome. I really love all these scratches in the texture. I think that looks really good. The model looks good to me. The fact that the lighting looks so good is just all incredible. So yeah, very happy that this animal is included in the game. This picture of the spotted eagle ray is one of the coolest things for me, because you can see it actually move very close to the ocean floor, and it even kicks up a little bit of dust, and I think that's incredible. I wasn't expecting these dust particles to also be a thing underwater. We already saw them in the lion feature focus, and I already loved that a lot, but I wasn't expecting that to also happen underwater, and I'm really happy that it will. That is just absolutely gorgeous. I'm looking forward to many animals that interact with the ocean floor, and that we can see a lot of these effects in the future. That is going to be super cool. And then we got the springbok, and just like the other animals that are returning, they got a fantastic upgrade. Just look at all the fur detail. Again, all these little hairs everywhere. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I also really think the horns look a lot better model and texture wise. Yeah, I think it's an absolutely gorgeous animal. Glad to see it return. And I also really like the vibe of this picture. There's not a lot of it, but like, I really like the grasses that we get to see here. Really cool. And finally, we've got the African tigerfish. Really like the setup, really like the colors of the water right here. And I think overall it's a really good looking animal. The teeth are something. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, or in a oh, Frontier didn't do a good job. No, that's how the animal looks in real life. And yeah, that's some dentures that only a mother can love. But yeah, nice addition to the game. I think it looks really good. And that was everything that Frontier showed us today. I hope you're as excited as I am for these aquariums, because I think they're really awesome. And just, yeah, let me know what you think. Do everything you want to do, like, comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you again on this channel for more Planet Zoo 2 news.